In today's edition of the Red Sox Rundown, we got an absolutely loaded show. Craig Breslow speaks to the media last night, and my Lord, did he have some things to say. We're going to talk about that at the beginning of today's video. Also, we got some major injury updates from Breslow, Roman Anthony, Marcelo Mayer, just to name a few. The latest on Alex Bregman. We have more from the Bob Nightengale article yesterday. And Jeff Passan just put out an article linking Joe Ryan to the Red Sox. Loaded edition of the Red Sox Rundown. And you don't want to miss any of it because the GM meetings are here. The winter meetings are in a few weeks. A lot is going to be happening. We are in it. The offseason is here. There are rumors from John Morosi now that the Red Sox are trade candidates with the Royals. There's this, that, the other report. Every time news comes out, we make videos. Our next goal is 8,000 subscribers. We're 868 away. I know we're not going to get there on this video, but let's get there as soon as possible. If you have not already hit that subscribe button, this is going to be your one-stop shop for everything happening around the Boston Red Sox. All right, let's jump right into it. First up on today's show, Craig Breslow speaks. Of course, the GM meetings are currently happening in Las Vegas, and Craig Breslow spoke to the media. He talked about starting pitchers. He talked about power bats. He gave a bunch of injury updates. He talked about the overall wish list and motivations for this front office going into this offseason. And a lot of what he said was very interesting and very telling. One of the biggest things that he talked about was the rotation and the pitching market. Here is what he had to say. I don't think we're going to spend a ton of time trying to add a number 4 or a number 5 starter. If we're going to make a starting pitching addition, I think it should be someone who can pitch at the front of a rotation. Start a playoff game for us. Praise the Lord, Craig. Thank you for saying what everyone is hoping. Craig Breslow did not keep his cards close to the chest in this, press conference, media scrum, whatever you want to call it. He made it clear what the Red Sox were looking for. And one of the biggest things was a high-end number 2 starter, someone that can play behind Garrett Crochet. And this was, and it is, the biggest need for the Red Sox this offseason. So the fact that he is going out and saying that explicitly is a good thing. He continued on and said this about the pitching market. Particularly someone that we feel like can pitch alongside or slot in behind Garrett, start a playoff game for us. Last season, Bayo played that role for a majority of the season. Lucas played that role for a majority of the season. Because of the depth that we've built up over the last couple of years, we feel pretty good just overall about starting pitching. Kind of maybe numbers 3-ish through 10-ish. This is a new Craig Breslow. Because anytime we heard Craig talk, he would, again, keep his cards close to his chest. He would give you a lot of GM speak, a lot of very technical speak. He would never tell you exactly what he was thinking. He was explicit in this. Like we need to find a number 2. We're very confident in 3 through 10, but we need to find a number 2. Brian Bayo ain't that. Lucas Giolito ain't that. Nobody else they have in their system is a bona fide, certified stud in number 2. We need to find one of those. And for him to come out and say that clearly and not talk around the fact like he has in the past is crazy. He's never done that before. This is not the same Craig from the past few years. He is clear on what the needs for the Red Sox are. He is clear on what they are looking for. He is clear on the strengths and weaknesses of this roster. And the front office realizes that this is the window. I talked about it in the past few videos. This is the most pivotal offseason for the Red Sox for the next decade. I think this offseason is the most pivotal. Because you are 1, 2, maybe 3 moves away from being a World Series contender. Not just thinking about making the playoffs, but contending for a title. You are 2, 3 moves away. And if they make those moves this offseason, they're running out of the gates hot. You let me know. How do the Red Sox acquire a pitcher? Because Craig says they're going after one. I believe they are, and I think they will. You let me know. F, if you think they get it into free agency, or T, if you think it is a trade. I think it's going to be a trade. I think there are more interesting candidates for trades than there are on the free agent market. I just don't think the free agent market is that good this offseason. So I'm going to say trade, but you let me know. F for free agency, T for trade. How do you think they're going to acquire their number 2 starter? Let me know in the comments. A few more notes from Craig that I'm just going to run through. I think the starting pitching was kind of the biggest thing. One, Trevor Story is the Red Sox shortstop. He was firm on that. He said that, he saw some of the errors at the end of the season. He feels like they're kind of an outlier, and they still like where he is defensively. And I tend to agree. I don't, move him to second and move Mayer to short is probably optimal in the next few years. But for this next year, I think that that's good. He also challenged Marcelo Mayer. I do want to make that clear. He challenged Marcelo Mayer to add strength, to get stronger, to be able to put an entire season on the field. Because he hasn't done that as a professional. 91 games is the most he's played in a season since he was drafted. So they challenged Marcelo Mayer. They are not going to make Marcelo Mayer the shortstop because they want to see him put a full season under his belt. Next, the Red Sox are looking for power in the lineup. Breslow was, again, explicit about that as well. He did not want to commit to a righty, although he said it'd be great to balance out the lineup. He said it could come as a lefty as well. He literally made the argument that I made earlier in this past season. I said, if you're hitting home runs, it doesn't matter what side of the plate you're on. He literally made that argument in his quotes. And didn't say anyone by name, but obviously these two are the two that we're looking at, Kyle Schwarber and Pete Alonso. But the fact that Breslow is saying, yeah, we need to find power in the lineup is, again, another step in the right direction. Being so open about your needs, that's just not something that we've really gotten from Craig in the past. Being so explicit about what they're looking for, that's a good thing. And power in the lineup is something else that the Red Sox are looking at. He gave some injury updates as well. Talked about Hunter Dobbins, who we know has started his throwing program, and a few others as well. But Marcelo Mayer, we already kind of talked about this. He needs to add strength. He needs to show that he can put an entire healthy season under his belt. Roman Anthony is completely clear for baseball activity. He is completely healed from his injury that sidelined him for the rest of the season, so he is completely good to go. And they did offer an update on Triston Casas as well. Casas is anticipating spring training. There has not been any setbacks. Again, he doesn't want to set firm timelines on an injury like, a blown-out knee, but he is anticipating spring training to try to fight for a first base spot. The Red Sox are in an incredibly advantageous position right now. The young core is healthy or getting healthy, and the front office is committed to making the necessary upgrades. The fact, again, I've said this a few times in this video, but I really want to emphasize this because this hasn't happened over the past few years. And why I think this is different is for Breslow to come out and just say up front explicitly, we need a number 2 starting pitcher and we need more power in the lineup. Things that we have been screaming to the heavens that the Red Sox need. The fact that he is coming out explicitly saying that is a good sign. And it shows that that's what they're committed to, and that they're willing to make those necessary upgrades. He didn't, jump around and hop and skip around the obvious. He knows what the upgrades are needed, and he's going to and is willing to make those upgrades. So the Red Sox are in a very advantageous position. I'm very excited to see what they end up doing this offseason. And again, if they make a move, we're going to make a video. I'm going to bring this up one more time. 868 subscribers away from 8,000 subscribers. My goal by opening day is 10,000 subscribers. We got to get to 8,000 first. So if you've not already, hit that sub button. Anytime the Red Sox make a move, I can guarantee you we will make a video. So don't miss out. Hit that sub button right now. Let's talk about Alex Bregman. One thing Craig did not really talk about was Bregman. He kept that one close to his chest. And I think that makes sense because this is going to be a very, I think, lengthy negotiation, and it's going to be interesting. But are the Red Sox in the best spot to re-sign Alex Bregman? I think they are. But Bob Nightengale, in his article that we talked about yesterday, also talked about Bregman, and he had a very interesting point. Here's what he had to say. He said, Bregman will not get the $40 million a year from the Red Sox after walking away from $80 million over 2 years, but the Red Sox still make the most sense. particularly with the Tigers proving they can win without him and the Cubs finding a first baseman with rookie Matt Schaub. Bob makes a really good point here. And I'm going to actually go further on the Tigers' point. Not only can the Tigers win without him, but why would they go after him again after he took less money and less years? Like, all of the reporting that we ended up finding out from last offseason was that the Tigers met his asking price in terms of money and gave him more years. But he still chose to take the smaller, shorter, higher AAV deal with the Red Sox. Why would the Tigers want to go after him again? I feel like they think that was a huge middle finger to them. So why would they go after him again? It's a really good point by Nightengale. Just Baseball, who I think they're a fantastic website. If you don't know about them, go check them out. They got podcasts and all this other stuff. They're really, really good. They put out an article of Alex Bregman destinations. These are the 10 teams that they had. And if I'm going down the line, I can name why, each team isn't a fit. The Tigers, we just talked about. Last offseason stings. Why would they go after him again? They proved they can win without him. Why do they need him? The Reds, I don't think they're going to spend as much as I think we think they're going to. I think they'll be aggressive in trades for offense. I don't know if they're going to be aggressive in the free agent market. The Toronto Blue Jays, they've got a lot of infielders. Like, they're probably going to lose Bo Bichette. But we saw in this World Series, they had a lot of really good, scrappy infielders. I don't know if they necessarily need him. Are they willing to pay? Probably. But I don't know if he's at the top of their radar. The Mets, that's too many moving pieces in their infield. They like in this Just Baseball article, they're like, they could sign Bregman, but then they'd have to trade away this piece, and then they'd have to move this piece, and then they'd have to do this, and then they'd have to do that. Like, that's just way too complicated. Like, yeah, would they spend the money? Sure. But I don't think it makes a lot of sense for their current roster construction. Then there's the Red Sox, the team that actually needs him, the team that has the hole at third base, the team that needs power in their lineup, the team that needs a clubhouse leader. It just makes sense. And Bregman wants to be in Boston. We know this already. He loves it in Boston. Just re-sign him and move on. Like, it's just not that hard. It's not that hard. Re-sign him, move on, carry on, go get a number 2 in your rotation, and go sign, a Pete Alonso or a Kyle Schwarber. It's as simple as that. If you do that, I think you're competing for a World Series. But I'm not Craig. We'll see what happens. Would you resign Alex Bregman? Y for yes if you would, and for no if you would not. And I want to be clear here, okay? If you're typing N for no, give me a reason why. And I don't want to hear he's so old. I don't want to hear he's so injury prone, because both of those things I've already debunked. And I don't want to hear, oh, he played bad in the postseason. It was 3 games coming off an injury. I don't want to hear any of those arguments. Give me an actual argument down in the comments. Y for yes, N for no, let me know down below. This is how we're going to end it. Jeff Passan put out an article today. I believe I actually want to get it right so that I'm quoting it correctly. Passan put out an article. His perfect off-season moves. And he had the Red Sox trading for Joe freaking Ryan. Here's what Passan had to say. He said, as long as Red Sox ownership keeps the financial clamps on Chief Baseball Officer Craig Breslow, which I don't know if that's necessarily true this year, Craig Breslow, he'll need to get creative in improving the Red Sox team that's already quite good. Revisiting what he missed at the deadline is the simplest way to do so. And as much as the Twins say they want to win in 2026, they understand now is the time to strike. And dealing Boston another frontline starter to pair alongside Garrett Crochet is the way to do it. Trade for Minnesota right-hander Joe Ryan. You already know how I feel about Joe Ryan. I said he was priority number 1 at the deadline. And to Craig's credit, try saying that 10 times fast. To his credit, he tried. He failed, but he tried. He's my number 1 priority this offseason, too, if the likes of Freddie Peralta and Hunter Green aren't available. If they're not available, Joe Ryan is the belle of the ball in 30 starts this year. Good. 3.42 ERA, okay. But he was also playing on a really bad Twins team. Like, I think that he improves on that. 194 Ks, 39 walks. Like, the stat line is good. It is good, and I think it will only get better. I didn't even know this photo existed an hour ago, but now that I know it does, inject it straight into my veins. I need this pairing at the top of the Red Sox rotation. It's got to happen. Again, this is under the pretense that a Freddie Peralta or a Hunter Green aren't available, which I don't think there's any guarantee that they will be. Joe Ryan will be available. And like Jeff Passan said, the Red Sox know that the time to strike is now. Now. And, inject this into my veins. Go trade for Joe Ryan, and everything will be okay. What do you think? Who does Ryan pitch for in 2026? Type R if you think it's the Red Sox. Type O if you think it's somebody else. You let me know down below in the comments. If you type O, also let me know what team. Does he stay with the Twins? Does he get traded somewhere else? You let me know down below in the comments. And make sure you hit that subscribe button, guys. This is the third time I'm asking, but that's because I am I'm so motivated right now. I want to get to 10,000 subscribers by opening day so that we can jump into the 2026 season hot. And I feel like this offseason is going to be a lot of fun. You don't want to miss that. It's going to be fun, guys. It's fun to be a Red Sox fan again. Don't want to miss that. Hit that subscribe button. Join the family. And until next time, go Sox.